Today we will have the opportunity to share with you the 4th generation of famous BSA motorcycle from 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. So we have 4 bikes here. We have the 40s, 50s, 60s and the 70s. We'll start with this 1947 BSA M33. 500cc single. Okay, this is not the original bike. The bike has been modified by the owner to a cafe racer to suit its case. But what we would like to show you is the girder. This is the girder, the front suspension of the motorbike before the World War II. So the girder, what we call this a girder. This bike is 500cc, single cylinder, overhead valve engine. The owner only modified the cycle part but not the engine. So we will focus on the engine, and all the engines, the carburetors, the whole engine configuration are original. So during the World War II time, most of the engine in the British motorcycling are either single cylinder or V-twins. And the back suspensions are no suspension, we call the rigid. The only suspensions are from the seat, where you give you a very little suspension only. So during that time, most of the bikes are not very comfortable to ride. This is 1952 BSA 650, what we know as the Gold Flash. It's a twin cylinder. After the World War II, most of the bike they have reinvented the front suspension to replace the girder and into a front telescopic for comfortability. And the engine, we will notice after Edward Turner of Triumph have invented the first parallel twin for Triumph. So most of the motorcycle in British, they also follow this kind of configuration. That is twin cylinder. They call parallel twins. So this is a 650 parallel twin, 2 cylinder. The back suspension also they have upgraded from the rigid before the World War II and into this what they call the plunger. Only BSA and Norton adopt this engine together with Ariel also. So this is a short suspension, what we call a plunger. Okay, there's one thing also very particular in 50s, before the 50s, most of the engine and the gearbox are separated. This is what we call pre-unit construction. Engine, one part, and the gearbox is separated. So most of the motorcycle, I would say all motorcycle during the World War and during the 50s, all are in this configuration. This is what we call pre-unit construction. Then in the 60s, we have this 1966 BSA model A50. Okay, you'll notice the front suspension have been improved with a better comfortability during riding. One of the features thing will be, this is what we call the unit construction engine, where the gearbox and the crankcase are mounted together. This is the most popular configuration in British motorcycle industry. BSA, Triumph, Norton, all of them are using the same thing. That is, the gearbox no more like the 50s, where the gearbox are separate, and the crankcase engine are mounted in one piece. This is to improve leaking the lubrication oil. And also most of the bike have introduced swing arm or brass shock absorber. This is not the original, this is a Japanese modification, but it will give you the same comfortability. So most of the bike in the 60s are close to what we have now. This is the 1973 BSA B50 500 single. This will be the last production of the BSA. After this model, BSA sold the whole company to Triumph, and this is their last model. You can see this, what BSA trying to introduce, this is a 500 Gold Star SS, denotes as scrambler, street scrambler. So what they want to do, you notice the tank is very small. You are not supposed to, not for touring, but for scrambling. So high race exhaust, and all the bike are quite light compared to 500cc of all the British motorcycle. The main features of this bike is this is what we call oil in frame. The black oil are in the frame instead of separate compartment to fill in the oil. So what they do, what the oil is all in the frame, and come down here, we'll go down from this connection and go into the engine and go for the circulation. So the excess oil will go back to the frame here. So this is the quite of the advanced invention by BSA, which some of the Japanese motorcycle also copy this oil in frame. Some of the bike, late 60s, 70s, you'll see this oil system. Triumph also, they have oil in frame. And most Japanese, the Yamaha XT 500cc. Okay, I think that's about all already.